Hey there, it's Lisa with FreeFaxReview.com, and today I'm reviewing FaxBetter. In terms of trial offers, FaxBetter allows you a limited receive-only account at no charge. You can even choose a toll-free fax number to go with your account, but there is a little catch. You have to receive a fax at least every 7 days in order to keep your account, and the fax number associated with it, as long as you're on that free receive-only trial plan. If you want to actually send faxes with FaxBetter, you're going to have to sign up for a paid account. Now, as far as finding the actual FaxBetter pricing scheme, it's surprisingly difficult. You have to go hunting through the support page down here, but I'll go ahead and break it down for you now so that you don't have to do that. The good news is once you track down the pricing, there's only the one paid plan right here, and it's just the price that varies depending on how large of a service commitment you're willing to make. If you go month to month, you pay $9.95 per month. Commit to 1 year up front, and you'll pay $7.95 per month for the same service. And if you're willing to commit to an entire 2 years of service in advance, you'll pay $5.95 per month. Regardless of how long a commitment you make, you get a free page allowance of 500 pages per month. That's a pretty good value even at the month-to-month price. I usually say that anything that gets you 500 pages for under $10 is a good deal. But that becomes an exceptional rate if you're willing to commit to the 2 years and just pay $5.95. Now, if you exceed your allotment of free pages in any given month, every additional page sent or received will cost you 6 cents. That's not too bad. But again, there's just a little bit of a catch. As soon as you go into that overage, so as soon as you send or receive your 501st page in any given month, you are billed in a minimum block of 250 extra pages, which works out to a $15 purchase. The good news about that is that any unused extra pages you purchase will roll over from month to month, just like unused minutes do on some prepaid phone plans. You also won't begin eating into those extra pages again until after you exceed your 500 free page allotment in any given month. So if you are actually a high enough frequency faxer that you will eventually use those pages up, this still works out to a really good deal. Now, there is a little bit of bad news about FaxBetter. You cannot use them to send international faxes, or to be more accurate, they cannot send faxes outside the North American numbering scheme, and then there are even a few exceptions within that. So you can send faxes to Canada because they're part of the North American numbering scheme, but that's the only non-US country you can fax to. You can also fax to Hawaii, but you cannot fax to Alaska, and you also cannot fax to Puerto Rico. So this is not the best service for you if you're into sending a lot of international faxes. Well, let's take a look at the 2 ways that you can send faxes with FaxBetter. The first one is fax to email, and I've already got the email loaded up and ready to go here. Actually, I've already sent an email beforehand, so this is really just for demonstration purposes. I sent that other email about 4 minutes ago right now, and I did that because I'm on my 3rd round of testing with FaxBetter, and in the previous 2 rounds, it took a really long time for me to get confirmation that my email to fax message had actually gone through. So I'm hoping that by preloading, as it were, beforehand, that I might actually get the confirmations before this review is over. Anyway, here's how you actually send a fax with FaxBetter. You address the email to sendfax@faxbetter.com, and that is a little different from most other fax services, which would require you to send it to the 10-digit fax number right here at faxbetter.com. Instead, you put your target fax number right here in the subject line in any format you like. According to their support page, they're pretty flexible about that. And then you attach the file that you would like to send as a fax. Now, here's one other place where FaxBetter is just a little bit limited. They only let you attach the one file, whereas many other fax services would allow you to fax an unlimited or at least a fairly high number of attachments at once. But anyway, that's the only real limitation there. And I'm not going to send this one again because then if I got confirmations back, I would not know which attempt was actually being confirmed. So we'll just skip that for now. And actually, this is the confirmation I was looking for right now, telling me that the fax attempt that I sent before I started this review has arrived. And I see that it took about 5 minutes. That's definitely on the slow side. I know they only say 2 minutes and 51 seconds for transmission time here, but the actual elapsed time from when I first sent it is a little over 5 minutes. And normally you should be able to look for a minute or maybe 2 minutes in terms of sending a single page fax, as I did here. So the email to fax service does work, but it's very slow. I would not recommend this service if you're in a hurry. Now let's take a look at the web interface. And one thing I like very much about this interface is how simple it is. It's really just like almost any other webmail account you've ever used. You have your inbox right here. You can see a selection of sent faxes down here, or you can view all your faxes together. Of course, there's the trash. And then if you want to send a fax, you just go right up here, put in the fax number, and here they do care about the formatting. So please bear with me for just a second. And I'll just go ahead and use MetroFax again, since they've been doing a good job of receiving test faxes. And they're actually one of the few companies that also gets fairly close to FaxBetter's pricing range. So if you're interested in checking out the competition, I would recommend having a look at them. And let's see. Here, I'll just send myself an image of a bear print. And while I'm waiting for that to load up, there's nothing else really extraordinary that sticks out to me about FaxBetter except for the fact that you can bring your existing fax number with you if you would like to. And also, just in case I didn't mention it before, incoming faxes are automatically delivered to you as email attachments. Oh, and I mentioned earlier that you have the option of choosing a toll-free number for your fax account. That's actually your only option with FaxBetter. So you cannot get a local area code to go with your account. Now, instead of making you wait with me, I'm just going to go ahead and pause the account right here until I get confirmation that the fax I sent through the web interface went through. Please hold on. Okay, I'm back, and I got almost instant confirmation that the fax had been sent through the web interface. Now, I have not actually gotten confirmation back from MetroFax, but I'm going to go ahead and give that a pass this time around, just because I've already done 2 rounds of testing and had absolutely no problem with sending through the web interface. Those faxes actually seem to go through within a couple of minutes, which is more like your standard transmission time. I think the problem here might be that I sent the same image from the same number here at FaxBetter to the same service over at MetroFax a couple of times. So I think that my little bear paw image that I sent myself might actually have gotten hung up in MetroFax's junk fax protection system. Well, that wraps up my review of FaxBetter. As I mentioned before, the pricing is really, really good. The email to fax service is so-so at best, just because of the very slow speeds. But I think the faxing through the web interface is actually okay. And here's your ultimate confirmation here. Looks like it took about 3 minutes to go through, so that is acceptable but not super speedy, and that's really the one big flaw there is with FaxBetter. I already mentioned MetroFax is good competition in terms of pricing. Nextiva also has an excellent pricing plan that can compete with FaxBetter's, and I also like HelloFax a lot for its simple interface. And ironically enough, this right here is the sample fax that I sent more than 10 minutes ago that somehow it had seemed to have gone awry. So I see that it finally got where it was going, but again, it took longer than 10 minutes, which is really unacceptable unless you're not in a hurry at all. And that one had been sent from the email to fax interface, so if you do use FaxBetter, make sure you use that web interface to hopefully get a faster transmission time. Well, there we go again. That wraps it up. You'll find reviews of the competing services that I mentioned and dozens more at freefaxreviews.com.